has already made up its mind to invade Taiwan. In fact, the urgent preparation has to do with the provocating statement by the Prime Minister of Japan. And according to China, it said they are going to use both robots and all to remove the brain of every. In fact, the threat of China is too direct and is horrible. The way China is threatening to remove the brain of anybody. Can say because robots not get sympathy. Robot no know who be human being, who be enemy. Robot no know who be soldier or who be civilian. Robot go destroy anything wey come in way. And China is preparing to use robots to fight along with human beings. Now, don't see that kind of thing before. That is the problem now. That's why everybody is talking about. Why don't you use human being to fight this very way? He said no, they are going to use both robots and everything. And he's doing it purposely to provoke Japan. It's like he really want to provoke Japan. Because he said that except Japan retrieve his word. Because even Japan sent some ministers from Japan to China to go and talk with the president. But the talk did not come up to any solution. So because the Japan Prime Minister must return that word where he talk. If you not return that word where he talk, it's going to be problem. Maybe he plan to fight Taiwan next year, but he don't prepare them now. He said there is no need to wait. Because if he wait, it's like in the fear Japan. That is where the problem is. It's like if he wait, in the fear Japan. So let him just face them. And the worst of the fall be say most of the robots where Chinese bring come and some they dance, some they fight karate, while some they go war. And the one where they go war for inside, maybe among those one where he demonstrate that time. And he don't ready to carry the entire Taiwan. And Taiwan also is very, very well prepared for this very war where they come. So before I will continue, let's listen to the threats of China towards Japan and Taiwan. It's just trading the both of them at the same time. He not get limit. He is trading the both of them at the same time. Let's listen to it.
Now, you might have thought it cute when China revealed it had dancing robots. I mean, so advanced. But did you really think that China was developing robots just to dance? This year, a Chinese company unveiled a robot that can also do kung fu, that potentially can fight. And last week, China's People's Liberation Army released a video of army exercises. And look at the stars, robot wolves, armed and fighting alongside human soldiers. Now, China first unveiled an early version of this new weapon a couple of years ago, but this latest model looks more rugged and advanced. It is still steered by pilots, but wait until these robot wolves get artificial intelligence so that they can fight independently, identifying and targeting their own targets using their independent judgment. And if you think talk of Chinese attacks, well, it's all alarmist, warmonger, check out the warning posted by China's foreign ministry just last week after Japan's prime minister suggested Japan would defend Taiwan from a Chinese invasion. I'll translate it for you. It was actually in Japanese, warning Japan any attempt to provoke the bottom line of the Chinese people will inevitably be met with a severe counterattack from China. Their heads will be split open and they will be covered in blood. A Chinese consul in Japan even warned Japan's leader on X that China wouldn't hesitate to cut off a dirty neck. I really don't think many Australians realise how threatening our neighbourhood has got. The way I sometimes see politics is like, it's all being played for domestic games, like the rest of the world doesn't really exist. We can just muddle them on, do little playground fights in Canberra and it doesn't have any consequence. Joining me back at last from his break, the country's top foreign affairs writer, Greg Sheridan of The Australian. Greg, great to see you back. Isn't it extraordinary to have the world's second biggest superpower threatening to cut off the head of Japan's female prime minister and to split Japan's head wide open and cover it with blood. What kind of country acts and talks like that?
The threat is too much.
Andrew, it's great to be with you, and you're right to highlight this. When the Chinese talk to each other, or talk to the Japanese, or the Koreans, or sometimes the Filipinos, or sometimes us, they speak in very harsh tones, very, very harsh tones. Xi Jinping routinely tells his troops to prepare for war. Now, Andrew, you're right to highlight this robot capability. We've been discussing, and I've been writing for years, about the absolute hopeless position of the Australian Defence Force in terms of drone capabilities. We're seeing in Ukraine what drones can do and how adaptable and fast they are. They're kind of, in a sense, primitive robots, and they're not yet powered by AI. And we're nowhere in this. We're just, on the tiniest fringe. We're doing almost nothing in drones because all of our defence budget is taken up with the AUKUS subs, and the Albanese government won't spend any significant money on defence. So we have almost no missiles and almost no drones. Certainly nothing that could counter the Chinese. We're just dependent entirely on the Americans. So the Albanese government is winning the politics at the moment, but you couldn't imagine a government doing a worse job across every sphere of Australian interest: military, economic, social, the whole lot.
Well, one of them is, of course, climate change policies, global warming policies. And I want to segue from exactly this, the electronic walls, which highlights something. As I said, look, in another decade, can you...
Do you just hear that? Look, the way China is provoking Japan. Japan is just looking at China. They don't send their delegates go. When they go talk to China, China say, like, except the Prime Minister return back that word where he talk. And the Prime Minister say, he no will return back the word because he me waiting in talk. There is no deal. Then you go and wait for me. That's what China is saying. Go and wait for me. Go and wait. Come and see the way I'll take slaughter of now with my robots. Well, China and Russia just turned to terror of the world. Now, see, I said Donald Trump, America don't define trouble. They don't define war. You see all these people? You hear that? He said he go cut off the head of the Prime Minister of Japan. I mean, I don't tire for these people. I don't just talk. I don't tire. Hey, Jimmy, if I'm coming back with the news of Taiwan right away, I'm coming back.